everybody. I am Dr. T&J Ramsey, the host of the She Trucking podcast, powered by CTR Media Network. And today we are bringing on some of the best in celebration, yes, of women in trucking doing this amazing International Women's Month. And today we have the amazing Jennifer Marshall. She is not only a CDL instructor, she is a driver, and she is a woman on a mission to help empower you on no matter what level of trucking that you find yourself on. So without further ado, let's bring on the amazing Jennifer Marshall. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, it is so great to have you today. And so when I think about you as a woman, the question always comes to mind for me. Why did you decide to go into the trucking industry?
Honestly, to be like my aunt.
Oh.
Yeah. My Aunt Sandra, that's all she did until she, started having kids. And then my uncle, he continued on with the driving and she ran the internal part of it. So, and everybody has that favorite aunt that you emulate. And, I used to joke around, call her Aunt God. So that's why I got into it.
Oh, wow. That is something else. So we have some virtual studio audience in the building saying, hello, ladies. Hello.
Hi.
All right. Make sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe. So Jennifer, you went in because you had this fabulous aunt and you decided to go into trucking. So was it easy for you to obtain your CDL? And when did you come into the industry?
No, it was not easy.
Mm-hmm.
When I graduated from high school in June of 98, she gave me a job. Her and my uncle gave me a job in their trucking company in the office. I did driver qualification, safety, logs, stuff like that. Fuel by state back when you still had to do it by hand. And then that kind of evolved into being what's called a squirrel. And I would have to help load and unload the trailers with my brother. And because they hauled high value electronics. And when that started phasing out, and I hit a few bumps in my personal life, I decided it was time that I needed to go driving. I was called a few schools, and I called Lincoln Land in Springfield and talked to Bob Howard, and he told me exactly what to do step by step, how to get into the program and how to get it funded, because it was a few $1,000s even back then. And he got me in. I had to drive back and forth. Plus I had a kid at home. And then, I was the only woman in the class. All the companies that were coming in to recruit were flatbed, only looking for men. So on top of everything else, thank God for Bob and Craig, who was my actual range and road instructor, helped me find a job. And they pointed me towards SMX out in Fort Dodge, Iowa, which they're no longer in business. They were bought out by Decker. Mm-hmm. Great company though. They were, oh my God, they were great. And then from there, when they started to be bought out, I moved to Risinger Brothers in Morton, which was a little closer to home. Had to step away from that one because ran into an issue being, a girl. So you know how it is. Mm-hmm. Then I went to night transportation. And when I was at night, I had the best support group right up there in Lamont, Illinois. My dispatcher, I'm not going to name names because they're all still involved in trucking. Just the dispatcher and the recruiter and everybody was great in that office, except for the safety guy. Had a few issues with the safety guy. He put a tracker on my truck and he would know exactly where I was at, what I was doing, and would show up when I was in the Chicagoland area. One night it got bad enough that my dispatcher and him actually threw hands in the parking lot over it. So, and my dispatcher ended up going to work at another company. That guy never got sent anywhere because he had family in the company. So he went back to Texas. And then from there, I went to Celadon. And Celadon was great. They were great. But that was when the old man was still alive. So your mic's gone.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So you had a vast history with trucking because you have the unique experience of being with more than one carrier, working with more than one company, having some of the different experiences. And one thing that I did hear is you had some good experiences and you had some not so great experiences within the industry. And the fact that you had to deal with someone tracking you. And we speak so often about safety of women on the road. I mean, that is you would think you started in the 90s, you would think by 2024, we will have been remedied this problem by now. But the fact of the matter is this problem is still going on. And these are some things and some issues that we tackle with She Trucking. So for women that's starting now, because we have a new group of women that are young, that are just starting out, how would you suggest that they maneuver as a new driver on the road with all these different barriers? Trucking Foundation today and be a part of a supportive community of women in the trucking industry. Unlock exclusive access to valuable resources, including mentorship, educational workshops, and networking opportunities. Whether you're an experienced professional or just starting your trucking journey, She Trucking is here to empower you and help you thrive. Visit www.shetrucking.com to join us and drive your trucking career to new heights.
Hey, I'm Todd Spencer, president of OOIDA, here at the Walcott Truckers Jamboree. Want to let everybody know that OOIDA is started by truckers 50 years ago this year, started by truckers to give them a voice in Washington, D.C. and in other places as well. We have members that are drivers, members that are owner-operators, members that are small fleet truckers, and some members that are just supporters of the industry. But you're all welcome. If we work together, we can address some of the serious issues in trucking. And believe me, we have some serious issues that you know all too well. So, hey, we are stronger together. Be a part of what we do. We have an office in D.C. We know how to communicate with the lawmakers. Just need the support of you all. So join, please.
The Jamboree, we brought our 2022 VNL 860 Globetrotter Volvo. It's the downsped technology with the higher gear ratio and the 14-speed transmission. This truck steadily pushes 9 to 10 miles per. It's pulling a 2023 Great Dane Champion SE dry van that my wife and I spec'd out as well to make the combination work a little better together. We have personally, I started when I was 18 and a half years old in 1975. I turned 68 years old July 20th. My wife and I have been together 39 years. She's ridden with me for the last 20 years. And this is what we do. We run the highways and the byways of America, delivering the goods and services that folks in the country need. idea of how we set the truck up. It's all the latest Volvo technology. We ordered the truck. It took a year and 4 months to get it. It was ordered, I apologize for the greeting from Interstate 80, but that's the Truckers Jamboree. So it took a year and 4 months to get the truck. It was ordered basically pre-COVID, but it did come in exactly the way we spec'd it, and it has treated us very well. And I like to tell people that it's a two-tone color combination. It's pearl white and stainless. And that's the way we wanted it. We kept it simple. Just a simple design. And we run the flow below system. We run the air tabs. We also run the nose cone on the front of the trailer. And yes, folks, I did put the twin exhaust stacks on it. It's not necessary, but coming from that old school, and even the salesman said, Al, he says, why are you putting dual stacks? Nobody will see them. I told him I'll see them every time I hook up a trailer. And it's just, that's, I guess, part of the old school in me. But the overall effect has worked very, very well. It's a very comfortable truck. It's easy to access the back here with the catwalk, the way it's designed. It's good and secure. Like I say, here we have the flow below design here to keep the air. We want to keep the air attached to the tractor as much as possible. And I don't know if you folks have witnessed how the flow below covers work. I question myself, how accessible is it going to be? It's simple, and you have access to check your lug nuts for the tightness and check your air pressure. We do not have the auto inflation system on this particular model. We didn't opt for that. But we did run true balanced centering sleeves, and we run Centromatics all the way around. The tractor and trailer are both equipped with the disc brakes. So it's disc brakes all the way around. We run the aero mud flaps on it to keep the airflow moving. And the other thing that you will always notice if you have those is they basically eliminate road spray on wet roads. I call it a poor man's wind tunnel. You can actually witness how this all works when it's working correctly, because you can see the road spray and how it is funneled on past the tractor and trailer. And as we go on down along here, we've got the aero skirts. Now, when my wife and I purchased the trailer, it was just a basic trailer. It did not have the nose cone. It did not have the skirts. It did not have the excess rub rail on here. And it did not have the air tabs, nor did it have the flow below on it as well. We've added all of this stuff to it along with the aero flaps on the back. And we can go down alongside here, and like I say, it all works together. We opted for all position tires on the tractor, as well as the low rolling resistance tires on the trailer to keep the rolling resistance down. We also put here we have the analog. We didn't opt for the highest tech. We just got the analog right way gauge, which corresponds, if it's 34 on here, that's 34,000. And it's accurate within about 250 pounds. And I have found that very useful when loading at these various places and you don't have access to a scale right away. Gives you a general idea where you're at. 4 LED lights in here to light this up. It just makes a difference to the shippers and receivers and the forklift operators and myself personally. I love that. It works well. And one thing I do like about a Great Dane trailer, they run a good secure ICC bumper on them. The entire framework back here is stainless steel. A lot of different companies will use a galvanized metal. This is a stainless steel assembly around this entire rear frame assembly on the trailer. July 20th, I turned 68.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And we've logged nearly 6 million, just probably a little more than 6 million miles, no chargeable accidents. So we've been blessed that way. God has taken care of us in that aspect. And it isn't that we haven't had some close calls. And I know, folks, there's no way I could have been driving this truck by myself, because I couldn't have avoided some of the situations that weather conditions and the traffic puts you in, as all of you well know. Just certain times you have to look up and say, thank you, Lord.
Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.
DJ Tony Dunn. She gon' take care of her bitch, she truckin'. She a woman with a rig, she truckin'. She gon' take care of her kids, she truckin'. Yeah, she a boss, she do it big, she truckin'. She a boss, she do it big, she truckin'. She a woman with a rig, she truckin'. She truckin'.
Join the She Trucking Foundation today and be a part of a supportive community of women in the trucking industry. Unlock exclusive access to valuable resources, including mentorship, educational workshops, and networking opportunities. Whether you're an experienced professional or just starting your trucking journey, She Trucking is here to empower you and help you thrive. Visit www.shetrucking.com to join us and drive your trucking career to new heights.
Welcome to the She Trucking Podcast. My name is Cindy Tunstall, and I'm your host of the Enjoying Life OTR episode. We have a fabulous show for you today. I can't wait for you to meet our guests. But before we do that, I have to tell y'all, I'm a part of the She Trucking Foundation, and look what I got in the mail. My She Trucking Driver Appreciation gift box. I'm so excited. I've been waiting to this day to open it. It feels like Christmas. I've been trying to cheat and shake it and see what's in there. I've been looking at everybody else's gift boxes that they've been in packaging. I noticed they're all a little bit different. So I'm like, I want to show y'all what I got. Okay, I got a She Trucking Foundation. It's our goal to complete a mission to inspire, empower, and offer transportation scholarships to help the great members like you. Each donation that we receive will be used to change lives each year. So if y'all are not a member of the She Trucking Foundation, I encourage you to join up, because not only do you get to support other women who are coming into the industry, but you also get to be a part of change. You get to give your feedback about the things that are happening out there. And the part I love being a part of it is I get to network with other great women who are doing this work and thriving in the industry. So it's so inspiring to get to be around other people. So love that. Okay, let me see what else I got in here. See if I can hold this up and show y'all. Look at all this stuff. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, I love this. Okay, I got Transfix sent me little sleeves. I think these are sleeves for protect your arm from the sun. Y'all, my left arm, I use sunscreen and I still get so dark. So I'm super excited about that. Oh, what is this? Oh, look at this. She Trucking. Oh, it's a tote bag. Y'all, I need this in the truck. I'm so excited about this. I feel like I always need little things to get organized. Oh, look at these torn pages. I love these. These are little beads that are made out of paper. So I could use these to hang in my truck. Look at Landstar getting a little calculator. I always need that. Oh, look at some little self-care items, some chapstick and some lotion. Y'all, there is so much stuff in here. This is crazy. Oh, look at stainless steel tumbler. Love that. Oh, look at this. Truckingparkingclub.com. Okay, y'all, OTR. If y'all are not on this website, you have to get this app. This is so incredible. You can put your location in there and they will find available parking for you. If you're driving down the road and you can't have time to search and you know it's getting late and you're hitting the wall, you know, when you hit those miles and you're like looking at the clock, I'm out of time, you can call them. They will help find and set you up a reservation without you even having to pull the truck over, and you could do it safely. It's so great. So y'all do this. Truckparkingclub.com. This is incredible. I mean, seriously, I don't know how they thought of this, but it's beautiful. And it's not always just like the big, huge places. Sometimes it'll be some little random truck stop. There's just a little small thing and there's only a few spaces in there and there's room for you. So I know truck parking is always an issue. It is for me too, and I'm even in a box truck. So, oh wow, look at these gloves. How cute are they? Got a little pink. I like black gloves because you know they get filthy. So, but I like that little pink on there. Got a little sheet trucking. Oh wow, what is this? Always wear your seatbelt. Our roads safely. Share the road safely.gov. Ah, look at that. Cute. What is this? So many goodies. Clean water, clear choice. The City of Chattanooga Water Quality Program. Nice. Love that. Markers. Oh my God. Look at these snacks. Y'all, I know I need some snacks on the truck. Look at this hat. National Truck Driver Appreciation Week. I got a cap. I don't wear sunglasses. I wear caps when I'm driving. I got a t-shirt. Oh, love that. Seriously, y'all, this is crazy good. Where you go, best pass, like that. Oh, what is this? Okay, little pads. We don't need that. Just in case when I'm on the road. Okay, there's more. I gotta put this down so I can get to the bottom. My trucking life journal. My parents are always saying, are you writing down all these crazy stories you're never going to remember? You know, some stuff happens out there. Look at that. I love that. So thoughtful. Yeah, Sheree, y'all hooked this up. What is in here? Okay, I'm sorry. It's taking so long to open. It's like when you're at a family Christmas and you're waiting on that one person. It's taking forever to open their gifts. And you want to open yours? Okay, that's what's happening right now. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get away. Okay, so let me see what I have here. Oh, this is about the insurance health plan. What is this? Okay, insurance options. Love that. Start healthy. Let's start your health. Love that. So many goodies here. Well, I just have to say thank you, Sheree Moore, and all of our sponsors of She Trucking, all these wonderful things that you gave to express your appreciation for us. You know, She Trucking, we have so many beautiful partnerships. So I'm so very grateful. So this is so generous. I mean, it really is like Christmas, isn't it? Anyway, so if y'all aren't part of the She Trucking Foundation and She Trucking Group, I encourage you to join up because they really take care of us drivers and just do so much to take care of us. Okay, there's a bracelet in here too, and I can't find it, Sheree. Look at this cute little pen. I love that. All right, there's a She Trucking Foundation bracelet in there. Oh, I see it. Oh, here it is. Oh, I love this. I missed it. After y'all aren't on, I'm gonna have to play with everything. Look at this. Look how cute that is. She Trucking bracelet. Love that. Oh, Sheree, for real. This is too much. Look at these beads. Love that. I'll put that on right now. Okay, and no distraction with my gift box. Anyway, She Trucking loves and values truckers, and so many of our sponsors have just been so generous to give these gifts. So if y'all didn't sign up this year to get one, y'all be sure to sign up next time because so many goodies. This box is huge. Look at all the stuff in here. I didn't even go through it all. It's so many great things. Anyway, so, okay, back to the show. Okay, we have a great episode for you today. You know, our show is Enjoying Life OTR. My passion is, I'm an OTR driver. I drive a 26-foot box truck full time. I do OTR. I stay in the hotels usually, but my goal is to take advantage of the opportunity to travel. We get to travel all over this beautiful country, and I do just love the driving. I love the work. I love negotiating my own lanes. I love deciding where I'm going to go. I mean, I love all parts of trucking. I love securing my freight and, telling everybody on the dock what needs to happen and get everything there securely. I mean, I love all parts of the job. But I also want to take care of myself. When I'm out for 3 weeks at a time, I know it is not good for my spirit just to be solely all about the work. We need to have some balance, right? I love adventure. I love to travel. My family is military, so we traveled all over. And one of the things and I still tell my father this today, I've told him that my parents this recently, when my family would move to a new area, they would go on a mission to find out all the great things to do in that city, because we knew we were only going to be there about 18 months, and they had 4 children, and everybody knew we're not coming back here because it's just too expensive. So my parents would just be on a mission to find all the great things to do in that city. So I would just I think that just kind of bled into me as a trucker. I'm like, it's the same way. When I go to Chicago, I live in Dallas. That's where my family is. And my parents and my brother are in Florida. I have family in Houston, but I'm just like, I want to take advantage of the opportunity to be there. When I go to Tennessee, I want to go hiking. I want to see the waterfalls. When I go to Colorado, I want to be up in the mountains and enjoy the scenery. When I'm in Chicago, I want to go have some good food that I don't have in Texas. When I'm in Texas, I want to get some good Mexican food. So, I want to take advantage of all of the cultural things that are around me, both with the food and then also sightseeing. And, I found when I travel to a new area, I will sometimes say to the people that are there, I'll talk to a tree. So, I'll go up to somebody and I'll say, hey, by the way, what's something good to do around here? Local people sometimes can't tell me anything good to do. They'll go, I don't know, there's not really much to do around here. I'm like, okay. So I'm hopping on TripAdvisor and trying to find some fun things to do. But I wanted to find things. I wanted to create a community of people that like to explore, like to take advantage of the opportunity to travel and share their ideas. I don't want to spend all my money on Uber. So I want to try to find some places with truck parking. And I want to make the most of the opportunity to travel without spending a small fortune. So I created a online community. I have enjoyinglifeotr.com is my website, but I also have a Facebook group with the same name, so Enjoying Life OTR. So I want to just share our ideas and things that we've been able to do while we're on the road that didn't cost a fortune. So we're not just living in the truck, it's not great. So without further ado, I have stumbled upon somebody that is Enjoying Life OTR. She is full-time OTR driver. She literally lives in her truck. She travels all over the country, traveling to see her friends and family and doing the work, but she's really making the most of the lifestyle. She's cooking in her truck and just doing a lot of great things. And I saw some of her pictures. I was like, girl, I gotta have you on the show because it is pretty incredible. Okay, before I introduce her and bring her on, I want to read this quote to you, because somebody in our Facebook group saw her pictures and then she shared this quote. I think y'all have heard this, but she shared this in the She Trucking Facebook group. She said, whatever you give a woman, she will make it greater. If you give her a house, she'll make a home. If you give her groceries, she'll make a meal. And if you give her a smile, she'll give you her heart. Women multiply and enlarge what is given to her. And I thought that is a perfect introduction for our guest. So we're going to go to commercial right now. She's getting ready backstage and she's going to be joining us in just a minute. I can't wait for you to meet her. So y'all sit tight. After this commercial, I'll get to hear her story. She's truly inspiring. You're going to love meeting her. Welcome back to Enjoying Life OTR and the She Trucking Podcast. Today, our guest, I want to introduce you and bring her on. Her name is Dina McKinney. Welcome to the show, Dina. I'm so excited to have you.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today.
We are thrilled to have you on the show. So before we get started, I know we got a picture of the back of your truck there, so that's a little inspiration and give everybody a little cue about how you're living out there, because I love the way that you've designed your space. So we're going to definitely talk about that. But before we get into that, your lifestyle on the road, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into trucking and kind of just give everybody a little bit of an overview so they can get to know you a little bit.
Oh, I'd be more than glad to. Well, as she said, my name is Dina McKinney. I'm 58 years old. I started driving trucks when I was 52, and 52 is a little bit later in life, but you know, sometimes you just need to get a second, third, and fourth start in life, and this was about my sixth one. So a little bit about me. I'm a divorced mom with 6 kids. I have 6 grandchildren. My kids primarily live in the Southeast, in Georgia, North Carolina, and Florida. My oldest is my daughter, who's 39, married with 3 kids. Then I have a son who's married with 2. And then I got a big gap. And then I've got, let's see, 24, 23, 20, and 19. Or is it 21 and 20? Anyway, about the youngest one is like right there at 20 years old.
Yeah.
And all my kids are just doing amazing things. But because they're so spread out, and because the 4 younger ones are in their younger 20s, when I started trucking, my younger kids were all still right in high school, and they were all approaching the time when they would be going to college. And because I was divorced, I was struggling before I became a truck driver. I was actually a full-time head cake decorator at Whole Foods Market in Napa, California. And prior to that, I was the head night baker for Panera Bread in San Francisco. So I've got skills. Prior to that, I went to beauty school, became a hairdresser. I joined the Army and was a dental assistant for over 20 years. So I've done many different things. So I brought a lot of skill sets to trucking. But I had an accident at Whole Foods where I fell and hit my head on a concrete floor. It took me months to get back on my feet. And when I did, I just couldn't stand. And, you know, I'm over 50. I've got all these kids to support. They're getting ready to go to college, and I needed to have funds to help support them. And I got a random text message one day from CRST, of all companies, which personally at this point would not recommend because it's a rough company. It's a starter company for sure. But you have to start somewhere. I did not do my due diligence. I didn't do any research. They gave a text message, and quite literally 2 weeks later, I was in Los Angeles and I was in truck driving school. 2 weeks after that, I had my CDL. 2 weeks after that, I was a trainer, and that was almost 6 years ago, and I have never looked back.
Oh, wow.
When I started trucking, of course, I teamed for about the first year, which I'm very grateful for. Teaming really helped me develop the mechanical skill sets that I needed to be able to do this job well and to do it safely. It came very natural to me. I've loved driving my whole entire life. I will never forget. I was in my mid 30s. I had 4 kids in diapers under 4 at the same time. I was about ready to go physically and mentally insane. I'll never forget standing outside of my car at a grocery store. I think I was at Walmart one day, trying to shove kids and groceries into the car, and there goes the semi truck. And all I could think of was, oh, I really want to do that. I need an escape. You know, it would be many, many years before I could actually do it. And so when the opportunity came, I just didn't even give it a second thought. I just went and did it. In hindsight, I probably should have done a lot more research for the starter company that I was going to go with, and, you know, just learn a little bit more about what was going to be the expectations. But I'm sort of a shoot from the hip. If an opportunity comes by me, I'm just going to go run with it. And that's exactly what I did. And I will say that trucking has been, bar none, next to joining the military, it has been, bar none, the absolute best thing I've ever done for myself.
I love that. I have a couple of questions, Dina. I want to ask you, when you did team driving, were you with a man or a woman?
Both.
Okay, I would say, how was that? Was that difficult for you? I know some women don't want to be in the truck with a man. Honestly, I don't know if I would either. I don't want to team with anybody either, just man or woman. I think
I think because I had been in the military, being with a man just never bothered me, and I'm a tomboy all through and through.
Okay.
My first co-driver actually turned out to be a felon. It's a bad story. One day I'll have to write that story.
I know, right?
But I ended up, because of him, I ended up quitting that company after only being with him for 4 months. So I wasn't fully trained by the time I left there. And I almost died. Quite honestly, I ended up avoiding a 30 truck pileup in Echo Canyon in Utah. Because I left my co-driver at a fuel stop.
Did you do that on purpose?
That's one cardinal rule about truck driving with a team member. Don't ever leave them at the truck stop. And I did just that very thing. But in my own defense, the man did not leave a sign that he had left the truck. And I was the first one in the store. It was 5:30 in the morning. I had to use like a water hose. He left the curtain shut. I left the truck running. I went in, I sat on the toilet, and I will never forget. I prayed to God openly that night. I just said, Lord, please. I hadn't been able to stop since 5:30 early. I was over my clock. I was busting everything up. We'd had a shutdown. We had a really horrible snowstorm that night. It was a 10-speed manual that I'm driving in crappy weather on ice. We should have shut down hours earlier, but he just pushed me. So I got back in the truck. I pulled the curtain back. I saw a pile of blankets. I thought it was him. Thought I heard him groan. It was just the truck. And I took off. I didn't know until 75 miles later I left him behind.
I've heard of others that have done that, so I don't think it's too unusual. Okay, I've got some questions for you. Okay, so now the picture that we're seeing in the back of the truck, you're a company driver, right? This is not your own rig, right? This is a company truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what kind of truck you're in, and tell us a little bit about how you've made it feel like home, because it's really incredible what you've done.
Thank you. So this has been a long year's work in progress. I work for a company called Z Transportation out of Lincoln Park, New Jersey. I love them. I've been with them a year right now. It's my 1-year anniversary with them. When I started with them, they gave me a brand new 2023 Peterbilt 579 Ultra Loft. The Ultra Loft is the largest interior sleeper in the market today for standard cabs. It's an 80-inch sleeper. So the bottom bunk is the size of a full-size standard bed, and the top bunk is the size of a standard twin, not the skinny twin like most semi-trucks like Freightliners and Kenworths have. So the top bunk, actually, I sleep on the top bunk. Everyone's like, where do you sleep? Like out on the catwalk. I've got a hammock out there. No, I have a full-size Tempur-Pedic mattress that I squished up onto the top bunk. So curls up on the back wall like a sofa, and I sleep like a baby. And since I'm solo, I'm not driving in the middle of the night, so I'm not bouncing around. It's fabulous. Yeah. I have my own ladder that is a telescoping ladder that stretches up.
Yeah.
And then it sinks down, and then it stores right in front of a cabinet. It's tucked behind a rubber strap. So very easy in and out. The bottom bunk, as you can see behind me there, that is the kitchen that I mounted in there. It looks complicated. It's actually pretty simple. It's this the simple aluminum shelving that you can buy at Walmart or at Home Depot that you just put together. You can adjust the shelves where you want them. I got smart and but I have a whole bunch of tools. I love woodworking, and I love building things and creating things. This has been a lot of when I started out, it didn't look like this. This is what I consider my upgraded gourmet version of my kitchen. It's had many iterations in every truck I've been in, with every company that I've been in. This one particular one you're looking at and behind me, though, is the first time I've actually screwed something in And it's because in the Peterbilt, the bottom bunk actually has a wooden base to the bottom bunk. And so you can screw wooden screws in there. And see, only the legs on that countertop are screwed into the bottom to secure it. That's it. Then the top itself is magnetized and hooked in with magnets to legs that are made out of cast iron pipe with flanges on top. So there's a lot of innovation and a lot of thought that went into this. It's surrounded by shelving. There is a big deep freeze on one end, and then there's a long, that's the deep freeze right there. Thank you. And I've got a magnet on the front that's got a knife rack, and then I've got the spice rack on the back. And then there's a bread maker, a dehydrator. I have just about every kitchen appliance. This is a shelf that I made above the passenger and driver's seat that stores my clothing. And that rack to the left that you're seeing there is my coffee rack and small towel storage. The orange and white thing you saw there was my shower. Yeah, there's the ladder and that shelf on the cabinet there, the white cabinet. All that fits behind the driver's seat. That's where I keep my coffee and my tea and things like that. My microwave sits there up on the top. That's a different, the oven that you see there is an air fryer oven. The sink, the little white sink, is a hand sink that's sitting in top of a bigger, deeper sink underneath that butcher block top. And then just storage. There's my KitchenAid mixer. Yep, there's the deeper sink. That faucet has running water. The sink drains outside, so I don't have to dump anything.
Wow.
I keep
What a blessing to have the water in the truck. I think that's
it
so
really
great.
is. And I haven't said that's a Thanksgiving dinner I made several years ago, and I made it entirely from scratch in my truck. That was a different truck.
Wow.
But I made that. I made enough for two. Unfortunately, there was no one at the truck stop for me to share it with, so I just had a lot of leftovers that time.
Okay, Dina, I have questions. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything, because I know when people in our Facebook community, they saw your pictures, and I even know nobody, they could not. And even for me, I was like, okay, what does she have, a super sleeper? I mean, how does she have all this stuff? So that picture that we've had behind you, that is actually the lower bunk of in the truck where the lower sleeper would be normally. Okay, because everybody was saying to go, I do not understand how she has so much space. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. The other question
to understand,
go ahead.
Yeah, that's my top bunk. That's where I sleep.
Beautiful.
So to understand, the interior of that particular model Peterbilt has an 8-foot interior ceiling. I'm only 5 foot tall.
Nice.
So when the bottom bunk is down, the bulkhead of the bottom bunk is over my head.
Okay.
Right. So I'm not bending down. And I know, like in a Kenworth, it's a lower, or if you have like a mid roof, it's going to be lower. And sometimes it's super compressed, and people won't even use the top bunk because it feels like you're sleeping in a coffin. I know that this setup here is not something that everybody can do in any given truck, because you really have to modify it to the truck that you are in. But I have had modified versions of this that are much smaller and much more user-friendly and less gourmet, but very, very, very user-friendly as far as being able to do basic things like washing your hands, washing dishes, taking a spit bath, cooking, things like that. And I'm in the process right now of starting my own YouTube channel. It's called The Salty Trucker, and in my own webpage called The Salty Trucker. Awesome. And within the Salty Trucker, I'll have my blog, which is Life on the Rumble Strip. I do photography, which is 5-axle photography, and then also I do all the things that I'll be teaching you how to do in the truck are called Otter Hacks. So
listen, hold that thought, Dina, just 1 second. Let me jump in here just for a minute. Okay, I want to tell our audience, I know that the drivers have questions for you. So those that are watching on the live stream, if you could shoot your questions in there, and we'll try to get to those as some of them may come up just organically in our conversation. But if you have questions, try to put those in the comments, and we'll try to let Dina, answer some of those at the end. We're going to go to commercial in just a few minutes. And then I want to talk. I know the truckers have questions. I mean, I know about power and how you're secure and everything. We want to hear all about those things. And then I wondered if maybe too, you could be thinking about maybe some recipes or some things that you're cooking on the truck for maybe somebody that's never, considered. And I know some people, don't like the smells in the truck. I see that a lot of times. People don't want to have the smell of the food in the truck. So, we know that some people are like that, but for those people that, we in our community, especially, we have so many women that are brand new to trucking. They maybe just got their truck and they do want to make it feel a little bit more like home. So after we go to our commercial, then I want to hear a little bit about practically how you could encourage them to get started and maybe even share a recipe with us that's something that, maybe not a gourmet cook could make on the
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much. And we'll go to commercial and then we'll get back to that in just a minute and hear some more of your great ideas because it's truly inspiring what you're doing. And I know it's going to really help people to be creative and think outside the box about what's possible on the road. So I'm really grateful to get to pick your brain a little bit more. So we'll come back in just a minute because I got some more big questions for you.
Okay, great.
Join the She Trucking Foundation today and be a part of a supportive community of women in the trucking industry. Unlock exclusive access to valuable resources, including mentorship, educational workshops, and networking opportunities. Whether you're an experienced professional or just starting your trucking journey, She Trucking is here to empower you and help you thrive. Visit www.shetrucking.com to join us and drive your trucking career to new heights.
Okay. So I have a bunch of questions. Some of these I got directly from the She Trucking community. One of them was, how are you powering all that cooking? I mean, so do you have an APU in your truck or are you using an inverter, and how are you keeping everything hot or cold? So talk to us about the power and how that's working.
Actually, that's a great question. Power is absolutely the beginning of any type of situation that you want to build out in your truck. I am really fortunate. In my truck, I was allowed to put in, and I bought it myself, and my company installed it for me really for nothing because they know I do this. But I have a V4 3500 watt inverter in my truck.
Okay.
So that when I'm buying all of my appliances, I'm making sure that my wattage on every appliance is less than half the amount of the max that my inverter can have. And later on when I do my thing.
Okay, Dina, say that again for somebody that's just brand new to this and they don't know what you're talking about. Think about a brand new CDI holder, and talk to them about how that's going. Are you idling all the time? So give a real basic thing about that, because maybe somebody, brand new to this. So you might be speaking some foreign language to some of our listeners.
Exactly. I apologize. You're right. So when you're wanting to power any type of appliance in your truck, most trucks that are standard company trucks are going to have about a 1500 watt inverter if you're fortunate. A 1500 watt inverter, you can use an appliance that's 200, 300, 400, about 700 watts maximum. Because once you plug that, say like that coffee pot that's right there, that coffee pot is probably about 800 watts, might be a little bit more. But when you plug it in and you use it, it's going to have a peak wattage that it's going to use. So it might go up to 1100. If you have a 1500 watt inverter, then you're not going to blow it. Basically, you're not going to trip it off. The inverter is a power unit that is going to be hardwired to your battery wall in your truck. It has heavy duty cables and it has to take a professional to install it. It is different from the type of inverter that you plug into a 12 volt. Those are very small. Those are for things like lights, powering your phones, maybe powering your laptop, but very, very, very low wattage. But when you're powering something such as an oven or a microwave or a gaming system or a television, you're going to need more power. I'd highly recommend that if you need more power, inquire with your company if you're allowed to upgrade the inverter in your truck at your own expense, meaning that you will buy the inverter yourself. Most trucks can have a maximum of a 3,000 watt inverter, and 3,000 watts is really kind of where you want to be, because with 3,000 watts, almost any appliance that you buy on Amazon or at Walmart will actually can accommodate that without blowing up. And when I say blowing up, it means cutting it off so that you don't have any power to anything as far as your appliance is concerned. It also won't use up your battery power, and it won't burn out your alternator, because the alternator is what keeps the batteries powered. I do idle 100%. And my company has me do that. In my truck, I don't have an APU, which is a lot of companies do have those. Those are systems that allow for you to have heating and cooling when the truck is off. It has its own little power source. Also, there's another thing that you can have, which is the bunk heater, which is just strictly for heat. And again, it has its own little power source. I don't have either one of those. So for me, I do idle 100% of the time when I'm in my truck, especially because when you don't idle, you can lose your food in your refrigerator. And I have both a refrigerator and a freezer. So it's imperative that I have the ability to constantly idle. But that idling allows me to use the inverter because it's constantly cycling and constantly powering itself. And that's how that works. So any other questions, I'd be more than glad to answer at a later time. And I can go on and actually do a whole entire section on that at She Trucking in the group.
Okay.
So that anybody has questions about that, I would love to answer those.
And I know your truck is in the shop right now, so we're just looking at pictures of your setup.
Yeah.
But after you get back, after you get the truck back, you can do a little more detailed orientation. And I know that the audience, after hearing your story, is going to want to hear more. Okay, the next question that I got, and this is the one that honestly, that for me, I was like, okay, how is she securing all that stuff? Because I mean, I know you could put stuff away, but are you like practically living, like, are you putting all that stuff underneath storage every day? You got little, I mean, how
what you see in that picture right there,
yeah,
the way that it looks in that picture right there is actually how it rides down the road every single day.
Okay, how is that possible? Tell me a
All
little
right,
bit
so
about that.
part of it, I know people are freaked out when they see this. They're like, I don't get this. Part of it is that the Peterbilt 2020, the 579 Peterbilt Ultraloft is a very smooth riding truck.
Okay,
number one.
so
it doesn't bounce around a lot. And I learned on Freightliners, and they're called freight shakers for a reason. But the Peterbilt is sort of the Cadillac of semi-trucks, and it's very smooth riding. But I will say, I do go to extreme lengths to secure my things. Take, for instance, the coffee pot. The coffee pot is sitting on a silicone mat that is non-slip.
Okay.
So sits there, it doesn't budge. It just doesn't budge. Plus, it's locked into a plate that it's hooked into to heat. The mixer is on a no-slip grip piece of rubber underneath it. I use the dish towel mats. I use underneath everything on the counter. The shelving is all secured with ratchet straps into the buckle system in the walls.
Okay.
The freezer has a wooden board that's screwed down in front of it to help it so that it doesn't slide. The counter is secured because the legs are screwed into the wooden top that I was talking about. And then it's magnetized and it's hooked in behind something so it can't slide forward.
Okay, great.
Everything, there's a lot of things you don't see. So I use a lot of magnets, mini bungee cords, double barbed Velcro. I use and another thing too is I pack it in there so tight and wedge it in so tight that it doesn't slip and move. And then if it's on a shelf, I make sure that it's secured with a mini bungee cord, like crisscrossed over it, so that if I have a hard break, which is very rare, it bounces out, but it won't fly out. I've
Yes.
actually only had that happen one time. I have to be honest, it's happened one time
Okay.
that things kind of flew out. But
Yeah.
it was easy to pick up and put back, because the other part of it is I have everything highly organized and packed in a way that it's not a bunch of little loose stuff everywhere. It looks kind of like it, but it really isn't. And
Yeah.
it makes it easier to keep clean, and it makes it easier to pack up if I have to move out.
Yeah, that's good. I was thinking about that too. I'm like, well, you obviously don't change trucks very often. So, I mean, you're
No.
staying in the same truck. Well, that's awesome. It's truly impressive what you've done. I love all the little touches that you have, like even the colored, the dish towel hanging back there. Just it's really beautiful. The butcher block countertop, the sink. I mean, it does look like a beautiful home, very modern
Thank
and
you.
very functional as a kitchen. Okay, so let's talk cooking. I'm a foodie, so I like to eat some good food. So can you give us some little bit of highlights about some of the things? We have a picture on the screen there. What is that we're looking at? And is that something that a everyday
Okay,
a beginner cook could try?
that recipe right there is something that every person that can cook on the truck can do that very simply. That is simply a package of cheese-filled tortellini that I bought at Aldi's. Then it's actually
Okay.
shelf stable. It doesn't require refrigeration, so it can store on a shelf.
Nice.
It's a package of broccoli from the freezer, so freezer broccoli, and a pack of salad shrimp, and then a jar of Alfredo sauce. 4 simple ingredients.
Easy.
Just 4 simple ingredients. Saute up the shrimp with a little bit of butter and olive oil, a little bit of salt, and then toss in the Alfredo sauce. Toss in the tortellini. Throw in the broccoli, and saute up, and boom. Now it's topped off. I will say that it is topped off with some fresh parsley. And one thing I try to do in my truck all the time is have a live herb garden that I keep in the front seat.
Are you kidding? Oh my God.
I'm not kidding. I actually have one. I actually brought it to my daughter's house so it wouldn't dry up while it's at the
I
shop.
love that.
I
Oh my
have
God.
2 types. I have 2 types of parsley. I have basil. I have rosemary and mint in my and basil mint and lemon basil in my garden. So this way I can snip it
Incredible.
and add it. And it's fresh and it's awesome and it smells delightful, and it's something that's live that I can take care of. I will say it is absolutely critical that you customize the interior of your truck. One of the hardest things for drivers, especially new drivers, you will feel lonely, you'll feel isolated, and you'll feel like you're living in a black box. So change it up. Add some fairy lights, add Christmas lights, put in some fancy bedding. Spend a little bit of that hard-earned money on yourself. Do not feel bad about that. Get some nice pillows, get some baskets. Upgrade your things. When you start out, you may have to start out going to the Dollar General or the dollar store and just getting plastic bins. That's okay. That's how I started. We start out poor. We don't make a lot of money in the beginning, but as you get along and you start doing more and more, you can upgrade. And that's where I'm at. And this is like my 4th iteration of this kitchen. It didn't start out like this. And this is, 6 years of long, hard work and planning. I drive a lot of miles, so I got a lot of time to think about it. So that's what I did. But customize, bring things on board that make you happy. People always complain, I miss home, and I'm out on the road and I'm missing everything, and I get depressed and I get lonely. You know what? That's not me. I am in my home every day and I take it everywhere I go. And when I'm off that clock, I turn around and I'm home and I'm happy and I'm surrounded by things that make me happy. The front of cab of my truck is filled with toys and stickers. It looks like a 12-year-old lives in there. It makes me happy. I've got pictures of my children. I've stuffed animals. I have bright colors. I made it look like it, so it doesn't look like a semi truck. And believe me, that has been one of the biggest benefits to my mental health, to know that I have a place that I can chill out, that I can relax in, that I can decompress in. And if I don't have the opportunity to do like you do, go to the center of town, take in a movie, I can make popcorn and have a movie right there in my truck. Or I can, I carry a sewing machine. I have crafting tools. I can do crafts. I can paint. I can read. I can write. I have my computer. I have streaming so I can watch movies. I have fun. I relax. I can do
See, one
spa
of the
day.
things that's awesome. I love it. A couple of
Yeah.
things that you said that I want to highlight. Some ways to save money. I love the Dollar General. Getting some inexpensive storage bins there. Also, another tip for setting up your truck is to going to the thrift stores. I've had
Absolutely.
drivers that will say that they got a George Foreman grill for $2 at the thrift store, or they found some cookware there, or because we don't need a whole bunch of things. We don't need a full place setting. We don't need everything to be matchy. So we can go and find little odds and ends there that bring beauty and things, even just a throw pillow, putting a matching comforter and a throw pillow on there. Those little things make a huge difference when you're away from home. So I love
They
the
really do.
practicality of those tips.
And the other thing, if you want to start a kitchen in your truck, you can start as simply as getting yourself a Rubbermaid container that can fit at the foot of your bed, especially if you're teaming. Get 2 plates, 2 cups, 2 spoons, 2 knives, 2 forks, 1 knife to chop, and a small cutting board. Get yourself a pot and 1 frying pan and a salt and pepper shaker, and you're set. You get some groceries and some staples. You store all of that. You can put the lid on top of that, put in a little mat, get your little cutting board, and you literally have a place that you cook on top of. One of the things that I use to cook with is a butane stove. It works great inside of the truck and doesn't require power. And butane is only $2. You can get it at Walmart or at the TA, so it's easy to replace. And you have a really hot little temper thing that you can fry up an egg. You can cook up a steak, make some chicken. You can cook just about anything. If you can't afford a microwave, it's a really cheap and inexpensive way to get started. And it's easy to store. But that's how I started, was just with a simple box, because I was teaming and I needed a way to be able to have something better than truck stop food. We all know that right now the price of groceries are very high, even just at the regular grocery store, and at truck stops, they just are 3-4 times as high.
Yeah.
I've got some goals of being able to go into a truck stop and grab truck stop ingredients and make something gourmet out of it, which is possible. I plan on showing people how to do that. But if you can, if you can do some of these things and take advantage of, you can have your groceries delivered to you now by DoorDash.
Yes.
Last year I saved almost $600 in delivery fees by paying $100 fee to DoorDash. And almost everywhere I go, they'll deliver both, groceries and food from the restaurant. So I've saved a ton of money doing that. It saves me from having
DoorDash subscription also, and I think it's so great. Like I've even, I'm a foodie, so I like to eat some good food, and sometimes I just can't get there even in my size truck. So I like to be able to visit local favorites. But I've even had DoorDash come and deliver to my truck when I'm waiting at a shipper. I get stuck, my delay. They say it's going to be at least an hour before we can get you on a door, sometimes longer, and I've had them I call them right up and bring them. They just bring that food right to me, and all the drivers are all lined up watching this little driver bring me my lunch. And I'm like, woohoo, enjoying that.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. It's awesome. A couple of other things I do too that help as far as being OTR and solo. I have a dedicated storage unit in Carlisle, Pennsylvania that I can drive up to Bobtail right to the door. And this way I can change out seasonal items. So I don't carry my winter gear with me all year round, and summer gear goes away, decorations for the holidays. And sometimes I change out my cooking gear too. Also, I have a dedicated UPS address, which stands as a physical address in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, that I can drive up to pick up my mail and all my Amazon packages, because sometimes trying to get your mail while you're driving is really difficult.
Sure it is.
That one, it takes a little bit more. I think it's like a $200 fee for a year to have a box, but it's great. I can have all my Amazon delivered there. It's safe, it's secure until I get a chance to get there and to pick it up. So there are a lot of things you can do to manage your finances, to manage your home time, to manage the way that you're living, so that you're not carrying 100% of everything with you all the time. I get a question that a lot. Like, how do you get that done? Like, well, It
Yeah,
helps to have. Now, I don't have a house. So
yeah,
because I don't have a house or an apartment, all
yeah,
that money that I'm not paying out for something that I can't go to
yeah,
has been given to my children so they could go to college.
yeah. That's
What you're
awesome.
seeing here is just the last little bit of what I have kept for myself that I have utilized for myself to make my life better. But you know, when mama's happy, everyone's happy.
Yeah, I love it.
Keep
The other
that in
thing that
mind.
you said that I really liked is that you have plants on your truck, and because like I've always had plants in my home, it's like when I'm on the road, it's like I miss having something, the plants
Yeah.
around me. So I love that you did that. Another thing I wanted to share is that you really, talked about photography, and you have some good hobbies that really help you to enjoy your life out there. So tell us a little bit, what is this type of photography, and tell us a little bit about that. We want to see some of your pictures.
Well, so my photography, some people will claim that I am distracted driving. I'm really not. But it's 5-axle photography because there's 5 axles on a semi truck. But my
Yeah,
photography is done at 70 miles an hour. I have a Motorola. What is it? I have
wow.
I have 2 phones, but my Motorola Edge is the one I use. It's a 128 pixel camera, and I started taking pictures 6 years ago. I would see these fantastic sunrises and sunsets because Lord knows we're out at all hours of the day and night, and I get to go all these fantastic places. And I just started taking pictures, and I actually have a degree in digital graphic arts. So photography was one of the things that I studied in college, and so I know how to edit photos. And I could not pass up the opportunity to take pictures of all these great places that I get to see daily. And so it's a crapshoot. I don't always get the shot because I'm running past it way too fast. But
Sure.
I've learned a lot of techniques to help me to kind of capture what I'm doing, what I'm looking for. And honestly, it keeps me really engaged in driving because I'm constantly looking ahead, which is what you want for defensive driving anyway.
Yeah.
Constantly being aware of where you are and paying attention. So for me, it's a constant search for what's on the horizon and what I can photograph that's on the horizon. And I literally have thousands of these pictures, and it's
Beautiful. It's
my
beautiful.
great joy. When I get done at the end of the day, one of my favorite things to do is edit photos. It's really
Yeah.
super relaxing. I listen to music and boom,
Same
I'm
for me. I do
asleep,
that as well.
3 hours later. Yeah.
Well, I love
So
being able to
that's it.
share with my friends and family where I've been, and they don't, they're working a 9 to 5, and they don't get to travel all over. So they're like, "Where is that? That's beautiful!" And so it brings me a lot of joy getting to share the photographs as well. Well, anything else? We're going to wrap up soon. I think I've covered the comments and the questions that were asked. Do you have anything else that you want to share? And then I would like you to tell us a little bit how you ended up in a Volvo commercial, because I'm kind of impressed that I know 2 women that have been in the Volvo commercial series. So share
real
your party
quick,
words and tell us that story, how you ended up in a
Yeah.
Volvo commercial.
real quick, I just want to add my grandma is going to be 100 years old
Aw.
on January 21st of this next year, January 11th. And one of my greatest things is to call her, and grandma will say, "Where are you, honey?" I just never know where you are day to day. So I always try to call her from someplace that she's never heard of or been to. So that's one thing that I love doing. How I got into the Volvo commercial. Last year, I went to Salt Lake City for my 40th high school reunion. That's where I grew up, between Southern California and Salt Lake City, Utah. I ended up getting shingles, and I was sick for 6 weeks. And when I was finally released to go back to work, I had to pick up a load of salt from Morton Salt right there at the Great Salt Lake. The next morning, I was heading out of town, and I got past the TA in Tooele. I got 5 miles down the road, and I blew 2 of my tandems because of the weight of the salt. Had to go back, and I thought, oh, Salt Lake is just not ready to let me go. And I was so ready to get back on the road. And I went in just dejected because the shop couldn't get me until late that night or the next morning. So I knew I was going to have to wait. So I just went and climbed back in bed. I was still not feeling good because I'd had a really severe case of shingles. Woke up later that morning around noon, and I look out on the parking lot, and I see all kinds of people running around. I'm thinking, that's odd. And then I see this big white truck with a big purple Volvo backing in. And that scene is actually in the commercial. And I was watching it as it happened. I hopped out and asked what was going on. And they were like, "Oh, we're filming a commercial for Volvo. US or, a national commercial. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah. And they kind of looked at me and they go, hey, you want to be in it? I'm like, heck yeah. I said, but I don't drive a Volvo and I never have. They go, that's okay. We just want to, just talk to you. And I'm like, sure. And so I went, changed my clothes, put my makeup on. I think I was even wearing maybe this. I'm not even sure. But and they interviewed me and I didn't even know about it. I didn't even know that I actually made it into the commercial until just literally a week ago. I actually kind of forgot about it. And it was on She Trucking that I saw another commercial for another Volvo that I thought, I wonder if I actually made it in the commercial. And sure enough, I looked it up and there it was. And then I saw like on another episode of the same series that Sheree was in it and I was freaked out.
Yes.
What kind of serendipity is that? I was like, oh my heaven's sakes, that's got to be a sign from God. Believe me, I believe in those signs all day long. Praise Jesus. But I was just like, that is just, I was floored. And I still am to this moment. So kind of a proud moment. Also a year before I was in the Volvo commercial, I was featured in an article in the New York Times for cooking on my truck.
I love
So
it.
I made it in New York Times in the Volvo commercial. I mean,
Famous.
I don't know if it's just being in the right place at the right time or I built a kitchen that everyone's paying attention to. I'm not sure.
Well, Dina, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so grateful that you're a part of the She Trucking community.
Thank you. It's been a real blessing and a wonderful opportunity. Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, we're gonna close out in just a minute and show the Volvo Trucks commercial before we end. But I want to encourage everybody to sign up for the She Trucking Foundation. And if you're not a part of our She Trucking Facebook group, to please join in. And just so many opportunities. We get to meet so many great people like Dina and get to share our stories and network and find out ways to just make the most of the lifestyle that we're living. Whether you're on the road like she and I are, or if you're just doing local. I mean, there's drivers that are finding local work that are thriving in the industry, staying home with their kids and their family and are home every night. So there's so many ways to be successful in the trucking industry, and we want to help you with all that. So if you haven't signed up for She Trucking Foundation membership, please do that. So we're going to close out. But again, thanks, Dina, for coming on the show. We look forward. You're welcome to come back anytime. I'd love to catch up with you again and get some more recipes from you. So thanks so much, everybody. Y'all have a good evening. I appreciate y'all.
Good night.
Listen, if anybody's interested in getting into podcasting, grab this book. Go on Amazon, grab this book. It goes with me almost everywhere. This book has like a workbook. It has places you can fill it in. It tells you how to monetize your podcast. It tells you how to set it up. It tells you about sponsorships. It even, listen, go on Amazon and get this book. And this is the Bible for podcasters. Listen, it was ranked number
what if
one
a trucker designed a truck?
in podcasting books.
I'm Joel
Look, right
Morrow,
here.
a driver with over 5 million miles, and I'm headed cross country to show some friends what the new iTorque can do. Today, I'm going to catch up with Tim Ridley, host of Radio Nemo on Sirius XM, and get him out of the studio and behind the wheel where he belongs.
Hey, Tim. Hey, partner. How's it going?
It's been a while.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
What do you have here?
That's the new iTorque, my friend.
Well, you already know what I want. Give me the keys, buddy. Give me the keys. Got people to see. Oh, this is really nice.
Right? Yeah. You ever run 80 mile an hour across here before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just about right at 80 now.
80, right?
Yeah, and the RPM is about 11 and a half. That's unbelievable. Trucking has been good to me. I really love trucking. And my dad drove. He was a bed bugger. Riding with him, I was completely hooked. That's what I wanted to do, was drive a truck, and moved up through the ranks in management and corporate management, and then Radio Nemo.
Nice.
Still in trucking, but behind the mic in trucking.
Nice, right?
You know, as a matter of fact, I got some of my radio listeners over at the TA and Tool waiting on us. They're ready to see this baby.
Oh, that is awesome. Feedback from some real drivers. That'd be great. Well, let's go check it out.
Yeah. I've been trucking for 10 years. Been independent now for 2 years. Paid cash. Thank you, Grandma, for the truck. I'll be honest, I've never been a Volvo man, but I toured that Volvo. It's a beautiful rig.
May I take a look inside?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Sure. Go ahead.
Feels like there's just so much room in that truck.
All the space. I'm 6'4". Lots of space. Lots
I'm
of space.
6'4".
Yes, that is cool.
Wow.
Ergonomics is really key. I want to feel the comforts of home.
How's the fuel? 8.5 miles a gallon at 75 mile an hour.
8.5?
Yes.
At 75? Wow.
If I could get 8.5 miles to the gallon fully loaded, 30% more fuel efficiency is $150 a day extra. I could retire at 60.
And all my research of all the different brands, that is the one that is built out best to accommodate a driver who has to live on the road. And we live on the road.
We love Volvo. When you ride a Volvo, you don't want to ride anything else.
I think it's absolutely genius. You know, you've got a fuel efficient truck that's comfortable and saves you on fatigue as well.